Hello, my name is Trisha Santhenka, and I'm here to give a critical account of the movie Escape from Tomorrow. I will be talking about the film's key themes, concepts, and ideas, and how these are displayed in the film. So firstly, the movie was directed by Randy Moore. It was produced by Sujin Chung and Gia Machis, and it released on the January the 18th of 2013. It first premiered at the Sundance Film Festival in 2013, and the budget of the film was only $650,000. The movie is a 2013 American black and white independent fantasy horror film. It follows the story of the main character Jim, who is an unsatisfied middle-aged man on vacation with his family at Disney World. While his family are exploring the park and are enthralled by the different sights and sounds of Walt Disney, Jim finds himself inexplicably obsessed with two French teenage girls who he meets on the trip. Jim essentially wants to escape the life he has created for himself and find another perfect life for himself, and somehow feels that he will do that in this deluded, mysterious world. The park environment soon turns to something more sinister as Jim uncovers its secrets, and makes him become so paranoid that he ultimately thinks his son, as well as a normal man in a wheelchair, are trying to kill him. Jim must protect his adventurous kids and defend himself against the happiest place on earth. The film takes place almost completely from Jim's perspective. The world we see is the world of Jim's delusion. The first chance Jim sees for escape is in these two beautiful French girls, who he imagines are flirting with him and leading him on. He spends most of the film following these two French girls around the park and on rides, often imagining himself riding with them and holding hands with them. All the meanwhile, any time spent with his actual wife only makes him retreat further into delusion. On one ride, he hallucinates and imagines his wife turning to him and saying that she hates him and that their son isn't really theirs. This is the extent of his hallucination and delusion on this trip to Disney World. The film is in the style of a technique called guerrilla filmmaking. Guerrilla filmmaking is a term used to describe low-budget films that do not meet the typical production values of a studio film. Films made in this process are usually made for less money with a smaller crew and less equipment. The shooting of this film was done in secret. The director Randy Moore took his cast and crew and filmed this movie at both US Disney theme parks by using camera iPhones that blended in with tourist gear. The cast had their scripts pages on their smartphones, and because Randy Moore was so careful to avoid using actual copyrighted material in the film, Disney hadn't made any move to sue him so far. The first theme that I will discuss is the notion of escapism. This notion works on the fact that Disney theme parks have become a form of escapism for individuals, as the park seems as a place where people can go to get away from their families, their jobs, and their lifestyles at home, and essentially escape from tomorrow and escape from their lifestyle. This is evident in the quote by Jim.
Look, I want to have one final decent last day here, okay? That's all I ask. All right?
Okay.
All right, it's our last day.
Many individuals in society have a lot to escape from, and Disney in many ways provides that escape for them. The protagonist Jim is so persistent on escaping the family and lifestyle he has now. His mission on this family trip is to find a new lifestyle in this deluded world of Disney World. Jim's urgency to deteriorate away from his wife and family extends so much to the point that he actually hallucinates them saying things that aren't real. For example, we can also notice that the music here is changing in time with the reality of the scene. Due to the frames looking blurred and delusional, the directors made the music slow down to be in comparison with each other. Another noticeable key theme that is represented in the film is the notion of men and the midlife crisis. This theme is obviously represented in Jim. He's a sexually frustrated middle-aged man. Although he seems to have a perfect family that is somewhat happy, he clearly fantasizes about younger, more attractive females. This is evident with his obsession over the young French girls. This is also evident with the inappropriate manner and way he looks at the nurse in the Disney Park hospital. These two themes are inexplicably linked together, as the film portrays Jim's needs of wanting to escape are essentially his midlife crisis that he's having. The last theme now that I will discuss is the theme of presenting Disney on a darker level. There are scenes where Disney presents characters and settings on a dark notion, almost portraying a sense of evil in the Magic Kingdom. This is firstly portrayed through the character of the other woman that Jim ends up having an affair with in the film. She is portrayed as a sort of obsessive, enchanted witch character that becomes enthralled with Jim's daughter. The second portrayal of the dark side of Disney is through minor characters as well throughout the film. The representation of the princesses in the film are portrayed to the audience to almost look like prostitutes. This is evident through the inappropriate manner that the Asian businessmen act towards the princesses. The director Randy Moore has implemented a series of film techniques to emphasize the concepts and ideas present and allow audiences to feel the eeriness and bizarre notions of the film. The first technique is obviously the notion of the movie being in black and white. The director wanted this way as he wanted the film to have an eerie, dreamlike quality and above all else not feel like a home movie. He also felt that it was easy to focus as they didn't have much time to shoot, being a secret guerrilla film. The director also wanted the world to see the movie in black and white as he felt it would help them have a better feel for composition and lighting in the camera. The result Moore wanted was a film that had a certain classic feel, which adds to the cinematic aesthetic. Another film technique that Moore used in the film was that he loved to portray unusual camera angles in certain scenes of the film. This can be seen in the It's a Small World scene that occurs about maybe halfway throughout the film. He implements a series of unusual angles that include upside-down angles such as shown, and blurred-out shots that almost keeps everything out of focus except a particular person or item, almost as if in a fisheye camera effect. It seems unusual, but it worked well with the setting to heighten the eeriness of the frame. An interesting concept the director has implemented in the movie that provides a framework for the entire film is the concept of a loop or circle. The film begins as Jim observes a white van driving away. Mysteriously, the film also ends with a white van driving away, but at this time Jim's body is inside the white van. This brings up the idea that the entire movie is a time loop and the idea of not knowing when something begins or when something ends. The film portrays parallels to the modern life that we live in and allows us to view Disney in a whole other light. There are many different interpretations for this film regarding different ideas and explanations. The film portrays the idea that Disney World might not always be the happiest place on earth, as it has the power to take people into a whole other world full of dark and mysterious adventures, and is a place where you can lose your head figuratively and literally.